So here we go.
Here we go. Awesome.
Thanks so much, Rachel, for joining me today on the Relatable podcast. This is
Uh,
Ian. How are you today? Well, this evening over there in Australia.
yeah, look, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to chat with you, darling. And I've had a sensational day, and now
Oh,
I get to have
amazing.
a sensational period of time with you. So this is awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. So it's just for the listeners, it's currently 9:30 here in the UK, but Rachel's actually over. Is it Sydney that you're in, Rachel?
In Sydney, yes, it's half
Sydney.
eight. Yeah.
Wow. So it's actually evening time for Rachel to be going to bed soon.
So good. Look,
Okay.
I've had the pleasure of doing a couple of podcasts because with beautiful humans in the UK. So this is my usual work slot now. So that's great.
This is your
Yeah,
work day, just beginning.
that's it.
Okay.
That's right.
So, Rachel, I just wanted to begin. Obviously, you are Google Australia's physiotherapist and you have so much experience in the field. But I just wanted to introduce you, and if you could just tell us just a bit about yourself, sort of the work that you do, and yeah, just everything that you're about.
All right, darling. Well, listen, you again, thank you for this opportunity. So just for the listeners there, all it is I've been running pretty much my whole life. So the age of 10, started running with my dad. Went on to do an economics degree because blessed dad thought that was a good idea, but then I didn't. So I did a master's in sports medicine and then a physiotherapy degree. And look, I've had a great 25-year physiotherapy career. And like you said, beautiful, I got the gig at Google Australia 10 years ago. And look, I was just treating all these awesome humans. They call themselves Googlers. It's all a bit mad. But anyway, they're all young, fabulous, 25, to 35. If you're 36 at Google, you're old. And they're all coming in with all these running injuries. And I thought to myself, what the bloody hell's going on? So I went back to the running science. This is about 5 years ago, and basically came up with a beautiful, simple solution to make running easy. And I'm sort of getting it out there, getting the voice out there. And I so welcome this opportunity, to work with you, beautiful, to help your listeners just literally enjoy running, because it's a natural thing that the human is designed to do. But it's like most things, if we don't do it properly, it's like the clutch on a car. I mean, I try and use decent analogies, but bearing in mind it is 8:30, so bear with me. But like the clutch on a car, you've got to like put your foot down and then change the gears. There's a way of doing things, and then it maintains the awesomeness of the car. It's a bit like our bodies. Treat it well, and it wants to just go the distance. So that's what I'm all about, making running easy. That's what my main focus has been for the last 5 years. Lovely, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's really interesting how you say that they're all young people working at Google, and yet
Yeah.
they're the ones more prone to the injuries. And you just wouldn't expect that when you think of like a young person running, you think fit, healthy, strong. And there is one thing really that I find with your app and what you've helped me with. And for anyone that doesn't know that's listening, Rachel has an app called Run 180. And to be honest, this has sort of transformed my running and my style of running, and it has really helped me prevent injury. So I was just wondering, Rachel, if you wanted to explain what the 180 really means in the Run 180 app.
Yeah, because it's brilliant you asked that question, beautiful, because people think it's your heart rate. So they're sort of saying to me, bloody hell, that'll be really fast if it's your heart rate. So the number 180 just quite simply means, as you know anyway, lovely, but it means steps per minute. Because all it is when I went back to the running science said that people with a more normal step rate, more recreational, more common step rate of like the low 160 steps per minute, that's where all the injuries were. And it's where there was not the activation of our inherent springs. So mostly I hear no to running because it's too hard and it hurts. Yeah, so we're getting the injuries and we're getting the inefficiencies, which makes it feel difficult with the lower step rate. So all the science said, funnily enough, run properly. And all I like the human to do, my brother calls us humans, all I like the human to do is think, if they took their shoes off and they were on grass or on trail, what would they naturally do? And they would naturally just have quick, light, short steps. So that's all 180 is. The number 180, thank you for asking me, is just quite simply step rate. You know this anyway. So it's like 180 steps per minute. And then people start doing it. So thank you for talking about the app from the front there, my love. Yeah. So everyone, it's a free app. I had a look at somebody downloading it today and it goes processing payment. And I'm like, oh, bloody hell. Like it isn't, it doesn't charge anything. But I think that's just a common thing on iPhone at the moment. Like it says, you know, when you put your thumb there and it says processing payment, but it's free. Anyway, so yeah, okay, yeah. Have you got an Android? But you've got, which one have you got?
No, I have Apple, but I do know how easy it is just to put your thumb on something and it just pays.
Yeah.
No control.
That's it. Yeah. So and you call it dope beats, I think, you know, like, have I got that right? Yeah, so good. I just loved it because, as you know, you just download it and then it's just an audio file that guides you, bit of walking, bit of running properly. And everyone goes to me, the beat 180, it's so fast. And I'm like, yep, don't worry about that. Just keep your steps short and then you're going to be okay. Is that what you found?
Yeah, so I would always I have run for a long time, since maybe similar to you, maybe like the age of 10, 11, whenever I started secondary school. But I didn't realize that I was running wrong the whole time. So I was doing these big sort of almost like leaps, you know, just that typical what you think when you're running and you think that that's right. And during the summer, I was trying to do clock in a lot of kilometers. So I was trying to run long distance, and basically I got this really painful pain in my hip and I was like, oh no. And I could not walk for about a week and I couldn't run for about 2 months. I was put off it completely. And basically at the minute I'm doing a fundraiser and I'm trying to run long distance again. And I've hit maybe the 100-kilometer mark, and like this year, not all at once, so split up. And imagine. And I did and I did start to feel the pain coming again in my hip. And I was like, oh no, not again. How am I going to do this? I've committed to a fundraiser and I'm literally injured. I don't know what to do. So it was like magic. It was like the universe was speaking to me. I came across your page and you were like simply just explaining how the importance of form. And I was like, before I'd seen your page, I was Googling up like runners, like these really expensive shoes to help me be less injured. But it was really the simple things. So whenever I've taken your advice, I've noticed that my hips are leading me forward. I'm running like you said, not with my heel, but my foot is a lot like flatter on the ground, which has helped massively. And yeah, the benefits have been incredible. And it is what you say, it's all natural, and this is where we should be running. This is natural and this is what we're meant to do. But I did want to ask you there, I just mentioned, how would you value form versus a pair of running shoes? So how important are running shoes really in running?
Yeah, it's one of, you know, beautiful. It's one of the most common questions I get asked. My brother, bless him, he's in Barbados, our home, and he just said, go on then, Rach, what's your best running shoes? I said, Jason, I'm sorry, love, but you can actually put plimsolls on. That's showing my age. That's just a flat and flexy shoe. Converse, not your flip-flops and not your going out boots, but literally whatever shoes you've got on, what I say to the runner, whatever shoes you've already got, if you can walk comfortably in them for an hour, you can run in them, you know, because running, everyone, is all about getting you right. So I practice yoga. Here's a plug for Lululemon. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's not the Lululemon gear that makes my yoga fantastic. It's the teacher telling me, do it like this. And then I do it the way she tells me. And then my body changes. And then the Lululemon gear just looks good on the top of me. Do you know, like it, right? You know what I'm saying then? Yeah. So listeners, you're going, what is she talking about? I've just spent it's $200 over here. I'm not sure how many pounds it would be for a good shoe in the UK, you know, but like it's expensive as all hell. And the listeners going, what's she telling me? I don't need that trainer that I've just bought for 70 quid. And how much are running shoes?
I would say they range. So I'd say maybe £80 to 150.
Wow.
It's something similar to you. Yeah, it's nuts. It's really sad though to hear that we can literally run in our bare feet. Like obviously if you're trained and you practice, but that we're sort of being led down this road to spend so much money on shoes that we don't necessarily need. And it is really all about our form and how we're moving our body.
It's yeah. Oh, sorry, I was just going to say on that point, lovely. If anything, and I'll tell you this straight, if anything, and I'm never going to make friends with Nike over this, but if all the shoes do the same, you know, on a typical running shoe, it's like bigger in the heel and then smaller at the front. What that does is it makes you more likely to catch your heel. And if you catch your heel, that's where all the running injuries are. So you'd want something. So that's why, and maybe it will make friends with Nike because I'm talking about them, whatever. They then brought out that one called the Nike Free, which was a flatter one, right? And so because they knew that the running science, there was going to be people like me coming for their asses, right? Because people like myself want the truth of scientific research to come to the forefront. Like, I love Run 180. It's got nothing to do with Rachel Stanley. All I did, clever Dick, just went to this research and then thought, oh, that's funny, because the research says 180 to 185. It didn't say 180. It said run 180 to 185. But I thought that was going to be a shit website name. So what I did is I called it Run 180 instead, because Run 180 was much better than Run 160, which is what everybody's doing. And for you listeners out there, and if you've got the bits of kit, the Apple Watch and the Garmin and the bits, have a look, and it's that thing called cadence. That's what you'll be checking. And if you hate running or you've been injured because of running, have a look, and you're probably down in the low 160s, mid 160s. And if we can get you up on that higher 180, and like I said, keep your speed really slow to start with. You and your beautiful video that you put up, my love, you said, bloody hell, it's made my pace smaller, you know, shorter. I'm not so I'm not so enthralled by that, but you felt comfortable in your body, and you knew that you just had to then build it up from that sort of like solid foundation. But then just to bring in the shoes one more time, it's like, sorry kids, just go out in whatever you've got on, get your form right. And then if anything, you're going to go back to the running companies and just ask for their minimalist shoe, because the minimalist shoes, they don't have the wedgy heel in the way, which means you're actually going to be even more economical, because when you start to go faster, the front of your foot comes down and then the back of your heel relatively drops. And then that's like boing, boing, boing. I say to people, how does a kangaroo get across the desert? Because I'm in Australia, right? So I'll talk about kangaroos. And everyone goes, oh, you just use your boing. And it's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what they do. But you humans, us humans, we've got a boing as well. But we can only access the boing if there's no heel in the shoe. So I say to people, run in what you've got on, get your technique right, and then drop the heel by going towards a minimalist shoe. And all shoe companies have got their version of that.
So interesting. It really is like the simple things. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, like last summer, I was out for 8 weeks. And whenever I did go back for a run, it was sore again. And I was like, oh, this is the end of it. Like, I can't run again. But then whenever I tried your simple technique of just like increasing my step rate so that my foot was sort of spending less time on the ground and leading with my hips, keeping my posture straight, it was like incredible. It was a new lease of life. But whenever I was running like this, I did feel like my core was engaged a lot more. And yeah, it was insane. And I was just wondering, like, I've always sort of known, and I think a lot of people out there have known, yeah, like we need a mixture of training for running, but how important actually is strength training and flexibility? How important are those elements to achieving a nice, comfortable run?
Yeah, such a beautiful question, beautiful woman. So what it is this is why you're activating your core, because what happens when you land on your foot, not your heel, you more instantly switch on what's called the posterior chain. So all the muscles up the back of your body, you also activate your inner thigh muscles more, and they've got what we call muscular slings that connect into what we call your transverse abdominis, your core muscle. So running properly, you're already doing a lot of the strength training. But saying that, it's really important and significantly advantageous if you do spend some time doing strengthening and mobilizing, lengthening. The same but different, because they're different exercises. And another plug, just go to YouTube or my IGTV, and I've got the 5-minute run strong. So that's an activation strengthening series that you would do before a run. And then I've got my 5-minute run long, which is a 5-minute, little, how many is it, Rachel? Yeah, 5 stretches on getting the body mobilized after the run. But then in addition to that, because as physios, we get taught lots, but one thing we physios know is don't give people too much to do because they'll do none of it. That's why I only gave them one thing to do, which was step rate. Now you're being awesome and asking me another question. So I'd say yes to strength and mobility, but let's keep it simple. So I've given you 2 programs. So just go to Run 180, or I'll give them to you, my love, and you can share them from you. I don't really mind. I'm just all about getting information out there because it's obviously free on YouTube. And so I just want to help people. But then if the person said, should I go to Pilates? Should I go to CrossFit? Do I lift weights? Yes, 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 yes. So I've got this one lass. She messaged me today. She goes, oh, I do 50K a week. And I was like, oh, well, good on you, wow. And she said, I want to go faster though. And I said, great. Number 1, run less. Number 2, run less means still do 3 days with 10K. But in the other 2 days, you've really got to focus on doing some strength training, which is your question. And you've really got to focus on doing what we call interval training, which is so easy, 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 and then accelerate, recover, easy, 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 cover, recover, accelerate. And you can either do that on the flat or on hills. Now, that is one way to increase your strength. So just another plug. So it's called the Accelerator. I'm going to give it to you, and then you can share it with a couple of listeners that give you the thumbs up on your page. So because I'm actually going to be putting it in my programs page, which is a paid thing, but I'm just going to give it to you, my love, and I'll let you share it out. Yeah, where you want to. It's awesome. It's a 15-minute, it's called the Accelerator, and it's a 15 minutes of me in your ear with the 180 beat for you can either walk it or run it. And then I got my sound engineer to create something for acceleration. So it's like a motorbike. I love motorbikes. And it goes for 5 seconds, and then it goes and then 5 seconds, and then it goes like it's kind of, and I can't even do them, but it like sounds amazing. And then it tapers off, and then you hear me going, well done, you are round 1 through, I'm like on the app anyway. So I'll send it to you, my love, because if you do that kind of work, that interval work, that significantly helps your strength. So let's recap. Running properly gets your strength up anyway, straight up, which is why you told me you feel your core without me having to plug it to you. You just like, oh, that's it. And then number 2 is please do some strength work. I've got my free programs there on YouTube, but do additional strength, anything that you want to do at the gym, any classes, go and do them. And number 3 is do intervals and do hills. And I'll send you that link so that you can experience it. And then, like I said, just send it out to your people who give you a thumbs up or something.
Yeah, of course. That sounds incredible. I haven't done intervals in so long since I'd say cross country. I've just completely forgotten about them and just put them to the side. But I'm excited to try that, actually, get back into them. Whenever I was doing cross country, it was with like a group of girls, and I would still talk to these girls now. And like, I personally understand the importance of having people around you when you're running, and community, and just having people to like run with. It just helps so much. Like, have you experienced the difference between running by yourself and running in a group? Like, how important is it to have people around us that are sort of supporting us and being there for us, just, when we don't really want to go for a run? And yeah.
And I think, look, beautiful woman, love, we've just had Mardi Gras here in Sydney, and everything's love is love. Like, love is the most important thing to this little cookie, Rachel Stanley. And love involves humans. So we are, as humans, so much better with other humans. Now, so if indeed you can find a running club, or just get your mate and say, let's go and try this lark called running. People like to catch up. The problem with talking and running is I want your nose breathing. So it's really hard to speak and nose breathe at the same time. But it does help if there's just a big group and everyone's just there with each other. I've got groups here in Sydney, and they just go around an oval. So they're not all doing the same speed, but they can all still see each other. And they know it's only 20 minutes. So they just all meet up, do their own thing. and then they're there afterwards. One of the groups, then they go to yoga together, this kind of thing, you know. So community is so vastly important. Now, for your listeners, I mean, you've got your groups and you know what you're doing. And I've got a little wee free group that's called Smiles Not Miles. And it's a Facebook group. And I've just had all the lasses today. One lass asked a question and then all the lasses were just answering her back. I didn't, that was before I got there. Do you know, like I'm supposed to be answering the questions and they'd all answered the questions before I got there because they're all trying to help each other. So there's Run 180. I'm fortunate. I've had like 13,500 downloads of the app already. And so people are joining the little Facebook group there and women and men are interacting with each other because I tried to set up a global community platform where there could be like global support because there's a lot of people that are starting this running journey and they don't have anybody around them. So it's, can I just be online then and at least have, because I want you to come to Smiles Not Miles and tell me you've gone for a run and I'll tell you well done. And I want the lasses and lads and lasses in the group to they're brilliant. So, you know, like if somebody needed some support, they could just come and we'd support them. But if indeed, you see running groups, they're like, oh, you're running 5K, you're running 10K, and the humans just started. They're not running any of that. So it's quite hard to, unless you got like one mate and said, right, let's get the Yui boom and do this for a laugh. Or what my friends do is they start the program at the same time. They get there over the button and they go, ready? 1, 2, 3, and then they press play so that they're on it together. And yeah, but community, my love, it's so massive. Oh, in the UK, Park Run is just going to, oh, bloody hell, you guys are in crazy ass lockdown. Here in Australia, Park Run's going to start again. Park Run, 5K event. Wait till lockdown's finished, everyone, and Google Park Run. It's a free event. It doesn't matter if you walk the whole thing, run the whole thing, you know, run 180, do your level 1, be on the app for the whole time. That's a sensational community-based, global community-based event. Get everyone getting onto that when this lark called COVID packs itself in.
Yeah, exactly. It is just COVID, but it's not, you wouldn't think it. Like, I did not appreciate the importance of having people around me and that support network, even if it's just going for a run, getting a coffee and walking home, you know, like going for a run, getting a scooter back, just anything, just having people around you. It's just vital. And it doesn't matter the speed, even if it's going to see a new, like something new in the street or like a museum or running to something. It's just, yeah, the park runs have been incredible. I've seen them in the past, like uni students going together, like it's a way to mingle as well. But it's interesting how you said about talking when you're running and you want like the listeners to be breathing through their nose and out their nose. And oh, the internet is unstable. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and I was just wondering, like, why? What is that? Like, do you want to explain the why? What is, yeah, like, why do you not want us to be breathing out our mouth, basically?
Super. Okay, my love. And if you can keep hearing me, then, you know, you give me the thumbs up. But all it is, everyone, is a couple of key things. So when you breathe through your nose, your sinuses produce this gas called nitric oxide. Go with me. So when you breathe through your nose, basically nitric oxide goes down the airways with the oxygen and carbon dioxide that you just breathed in. And nitric oxide makes your airways wider and it makes your blood vessels wider. So think about trying to get some information. You've got a goods, it's in London. How are you getting it to Doncaster on the M1? You don't want to be taking the back roads. So if you can breathe through your nose, you're getting information, oxygen, to your muscles via your motorways, because you've basically made your blood vessels wider. Okay, so that's one thing that it does. This nitric oxide also makes the hemoglobin of your red blood cells take oxygen up even more. So when you've got more taken up, then you've got more available to you. So that's the two advantages of nitric oxide. Now let's talk about one other gas. It's called carbon dioxide. Now, when you're nose breathing, because these two little things here are a lot smaller than that big thing there called my mouth, when you're breathing in and out through your nose, we build up carbon dioxide. And you're like, hold on a minute, I thought we needed the oxygen. But what happens is when we build up carbon dioxide in the system, because I can't get it all out because my nostrils are small, it backs up in the system. And what happens there is the M1 analogy is again reinstated, because carbon dioxide also makes for what we call bronchodilation. So it makes your airways bigger, and vasodilation, it makes your blood vessels wider. So we've got these motorways running again. So that's one thing that carbon dioxide does. And the other thing that carbon dioxide does is it's called the Bohr effect, whoever he was, because it would have been a he back in the 1800s, wouldn't it? Bohr for you scientists out there. And basically what the Bohr effect is when carbon dioxide is increased, it basically makes the hemoglobin get rid of the oxygen at a greater rate. So you're like, oh, brilliant. So it's two factors that make the blood vessels and airways wider. And there's two factors that make oxygen more available. Okay, they're the byproducts. Your real key thing, breathing through the nose, is it bloody calms us down, love. And every human in the Western world needs to be calmed down. When you build up carbon dioxide in your system, it switches on the off button of the nervous system. I teach yoga, and I say to my students at the end, and when they're in Shavasana, I say, it's like taking Valium without the expense and without the side effects. Breathing through the nose, breathing slowly. When we're running, we're really breathing quickly. So everyone, you've got to slow your speed down. You'll be snotting everywhere for the first week or 2 or 3 or 4, especially when it's cold, as it is in the UK at the moment. But give it 6 to 8 weeks, obviously, depending on how often you run, maybe give it 12 weeks, and you won't be snotting anymore. You'll have built up what we call your tolerance to CO2, carbon dioxide. So the whole thing will feel easier. You'll be calmer, and the oxygen will just be like massively being delivered to your muscles. So you'll be champion. That's why you nose breathe.
Yeah, that's so funny. You had said it, and I went for a run. I was trying to nose breathe. And like you said, like it was like, this is not normal. Like maybe I shouldn't be doing this because the snots were just like going everywhere. That might sound a bit vile, but if it's worth it, then I'm willing to be a bit snotty for the run. But it's interesting what you say as well about calming us down. Like breathing, it is so underestimated. I don't know if you've heard of it, you might have, but the Wim Hof method.
Oh, he's made breathing sexy. I'm sorry, yeah. Mr. Wim Hof, but all you've done is you've brought all the yoga, it's called pranayama in yoga. He's brought all the yoga work into the world. Thank you, Wim Hof, because you have made breathing sexy.
It's true.
So, and he's brought so much information. Yoga, pranayama, boring. Nobody's listening. They're not even listening in the yoga world. Yeah. So just sorry, guys, listeners, if you think yoga's, there's asana practice, and then there's this thing called meditation, and everyone's forgotten the gateway. Breathing, pranayama, right? But thank God Wim Hof's made it sexy. So now we in the yoga world might actually be paying some bloody attention, because it's the key thing you can do to calm yourself down when you need calming and rev yourself up when you need enlivening. Oh, brilliant.
It is. It's really transformed me, to be honest. Like some days I'll just sit and do it, and how you feel after is a completely different person. It's incredible. And he always says high on your own supply as well. And it's true, you do feel like elevated afterwards.
Yeah.
But moving on then to fuel and how we fuel our bodies. So on my page, I have discussed hypothalamic amenorrhea. It's basically this imbalance, and it happens in very active young girls. And basically they don't get their period, and it's quite sad because I feel like there is a lot of pressure in the social media world to sort of look this way, to, you know, have these abs and be this slim, this low body fat percentage. And it's really, really corrupt, to be honest. But I was just wondering, like, if you could say anything to the listeners, just the importance of nutrition, like maybe how you feel your body before a run, after a run, and maybe how you're getting that balance between your body having enough energy to sustain you just biologically and then also while you're running?
Woman, I've got a lot to say on this. If we got 3 hours, right? Because it's so important. Now, very briefly, I had amenorrhea, exercise-induced amenorrhea at 19 years old for 18 months. And what really kickstarted me picking my game up with eating properly and less training, you beautiful listeners out there, is the fact that it's like every month that your amenorrhea, your bone density for when you're older gets smashed and smashed and smashed. So as a young person, so I would have been 20 when I finally picked my own game up and admitted that I needed help and went to my GP. And unfortunately, he put me on the pill, which helped the periods come back, but made me a bit cuckoo land. So what happened is I went home for 3 months and basically got less stressed, and so ate more. My body fat came up because I was at 9% or something stupid, because of overtraining and under eating. Look, beautiful women out there, it's 90% of us that have an eating disorder. I don't know a girlfriend. I've got one girlfriend, I think, that hasn't in her life. And you girls are younger now. I'm up in 50. And so I've had a lot of experience with women my whole life with us and our eating disorders. And this is why I need 3 hours on this beautiful podcast, because it comes down to a much bigger issue, which is that we are being sold the lie that we are not the clear magnificence, a clear miracle when we're born. When we're born, especially as girls, I call our brains a shit computer, because it gets given a lot of downloads from the surrounding environment that suggests that we should be more than what we already are. If you look at any baby, it's born absolute perfection. It is absolute joy, and it gives absolute love. And then we get given downloads for the first 7 years of our life that continue until we're about 12. We're very absorbent, our brains. And so we pick up this wonkiness, the fears of our mom, of our auntie, of anything that we listen to. And then as young adults, just to know that you only operate from your conscious mind less than 1% of the time. You are being driven by what I call the shit computer, our brains, by the subconscious programs. So you beautiful girls out there, I've gone quite sincere and severe in my own head about this, because I know you and I hear you and I feel you, and I get the angst when the jeans have to fit just that much off your hips, where you have to know that concave in your belly, when your clavicle has to have that depth to it. And I speak to you as your mum's age, but I'm not your mum, so that's cool, right? Because mums can be like, man, it's my mom, whatevs. To tell you that somehow you've please got to Google. We have a program, it's called Search Inside Yourself. I could speak to my beautiful host this evening and give you all the books that I've read over my journey from an eating disorder to now being normal, because we've got to search inside ourselves and realize that we're being run and continue to be run by our subconscious, which is continually being programmed subliminally by the marketing and media messages that you're getting given. You are not who you think you are. You are literally perfection, love, and joy. And until we go in and eliminate the subconscious programs that run us along the lines of not good enough. Look, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. What a fucking shit title, but I thought, Christ, I better read it. On page 4, it says, everyone in the Western world is operating from not good enough. So girlfriends and a couple of you boyfriends out there, if you feel not good enough, please know that everyone around you is in the same position. So you now have to go and re-look at, search inside yourself and see the noise that is incorrect, and come out of that and know that you are fucking awesomeness personified. That's didn't take 3 hours, but I feel very strongly about it, my love, because we're all suffering. So So because all the girls out there, they're very educated, because all I want to tell them about nutrition is I want to say, eat well. My mum says a bit of what you fancy does you good. So if you have a little bit of chocolate or a little bit of cake, great. But predominantly, everyone, eat well, eat veggies, eat fruits, eat meat if you'd like to. Just eat well, eat wholesome food. Don't have processed food. Try and cut your booze down. I flogged it for 3 decades. Don't do that. You're still young. There's loads of people now that are younger that are not drinking. See if you can rewire your brain around that, because it's going to serve you. Like, you're going to have more life. You're worried about your weight. My sister's just on another 100-dayer of giving up booze. She loses weight instantly. If you want to take care of your weight, you want to take care of your nutrition, booze and sugar, get off them. Just get off them for a month and see how you feel. Those would be my biggest things, as well as eating well. You can't get fat eating fat. You can't get fat eating protein. You can't get fat eating vegetables and fruits. You get fat when you eat sugar and you drink booze. Get off those. Get on proper food. Eat as much of it as you like, because you can't get fat. Enjoy your food. Enjoy a little bit of what you fancy, which is that bit of chocolate. Drink lots of water. That's another key one for me, lovely, because we think we're hungry, but we're actually thirsty. So just drink lots and lots of water, because that is the number one thing that is going to affect your running. Number one is hydration, not nutrition. So what it is if you're running an event longer than an hour, then you need to have little bits of banana, gel shots, tiny bit of Mars bar, whatever it is that you can want to take to help your blood sugar. But under an hour, all about hydration. So thanks for that opportunity to give you my grandmotherly rant. But I have suffered my whole life with this, and all the women around me have, my love, because it's so common. We've just got to rewire our brains. Best book, and I will yarn about him right now, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Have you heard of him, my lovely? Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm listening on Audible because I can't really do his voice, and it's actually narrated by a very neutral voice. Breaking the habit of being yourself. Unbelievable. Perfect neuroscience around what I've just been banging on about, and then how to break the habit and come into awesomeness. I love it when younger people do it. I've done it now. I am awesome. I feel awesome. I feel fully stoked, but it took me a long time. I just don't want it to take you girls that long.
Rachel, that was literally incredible. Honestly, it is heartbreaking, really, because there's so much that we can suffer from in our life, and putting that pressure on ourselves doesn't have to be one of them. And it's important that everyone listening knows that you can overcome that, and you don't have to feel that way. And feel in your body properly, you will literally feel like a new person, and it's not worth the fear of judgment or the pressure that you might feel from society or from social media, whatever that might be. And to be honest, anything I say cannot outgrow what you have just said. That was insane, and I was actually getting a bit emotional listening to what you had to say, because obviously you've lived through it. You are now at the age where you can look back, and that's insane. But it would be ideal if anyone's listening going through something similar could maybe stop right now, today, and choose a future free from that restriction and from that stress, because it is stress at the end of the day. So thank you so much, Rachel, for that. That was incredible. And yeah, just for sharing a bit of your story. To be honest, I could probably sit here for another 3 hours, like you said, and have a chat with you, because your knowledge is just incredible. And I think you have so much to give my listeners. It's just never ending. I thought I was coming on here just to talk technique, and here we are talking about probably the most important thing that the series will speak about. But I did just want to finish with a quick fire round. So it's maybe, I think I've got 7 quick questions, and it'll be this or that, and you just have to answer what you prefer. Yes. Okay. So would you rather avocado or hummus?
Avocado every time.
Yes, me too. I love it. Avocado toast. Yum. Okay.
Yum.
Chips or cheese?
Always chips.
Chips, me too. You just can't go wrong. They're just a comfort.
Can't go wrong. They
No?
don't make you fat because they're just all carbs. Fantastic. Yeah. So
Amazing.
good.
Okay, ketchup or mayo?
Mayo.
Mayo. Okay. To be too hot or too cold?
Always too hot.
Too hot. Says you living in Australia, we don't have that privilege here. It's freezing in the UK. Honestly, you think it's going to snow? It's that cold. But anyway, okay. This would be hard. Meditation or yoga?
Ooh, I love that one. Yoga.
Yoga. Yoga. Okay, that's interesting. Music or movies?
Ooh, movies.
Movies. What's your favorite movie?
All the Avengers series, all
Really?
the Marvel comics.
Oh, cool. I'm not really into Marvel that much, but maybe I should start. Okay.
They're so fun.
To run or to walk?
Oh, I love this question. Shit, it would have to be walking,
Really?
mainly because it's so underrated.
Yeah.
When we walk, so yeah, that was a quick fire, but like if we walk and we breathe well and we slow down, everything comes to us. But it's underrated. We're not doing the most important one, which is walking.
Amazing. Thank you, Rachel. And finally, just 3 last questions. So 3 foods you can't live without.
Oh shit. Chips. You've mentioned avocados, so probably avocados and mangoes.
Oh, mango. The fruit. I can just imagine the fruit over there being so nice. Anyway,
It's stupid.
three self-care non-negotiables.
Oh wow. Showering. I know that might sound odd, but it's a very calming time for me to just get in the shower. And yeah, that's my time. Self-care. Slowing down. New Year's resolution, massively benefited. Slowing down. Self-care number 3. Giving up sugar and booze.
It's interesting. I am sort of similar. I haven't drank alcohol in 2 months now. And being a student, that might like to you that might sound like nothing, but I think there is a lot of pressure in the student world to just be drunk all the time. Like it's fun. Like don't get me wrong. Like I will when there is an occasion, but whenever you're in lockdown, there's no real point. And like it's been one of the best things I've chosen to do for myself as well. We said showering. Have you tried a cold shower? Do you get cold shower?
Because Wim Hof's made that sexy as well.
Yeah. It's
so
true,
yes, indeed. I've started doing it. So I finish every shower with a cold with cold. I get cold before I get out. That's
incredible.
how I finish it.
The feeling that you get after is insane. Okay, Rachel, and the very last question. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, but the very last thing is 3 things that you would say to your younger self.
Oh God, one of them is don't worry, lass, because one day you'll know just how awesome you are. Another one would have been get off the booze a lot earlier. Just get off the booze. I wish I could have, like I've had great times, but we do it because we don't feel good enough and we're insecure. And there's lots of reasons why we think everyone else is doing it. We're being judged, all the things you talk about. So I'd have just got off the booze earlier, my love. I'd have just got off the booze earlier. And I think slow down. If I could just slow. So yeah, that's it really. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's important. We're living in a very fast-paced world. Everything needs to be rapid and automatic, and it's just nice to sort of relax and just slow down. Yeah. Rachel, honestly, this has been incredible, and thank you so much again for taking the time out of your busy schedule and for coming on so late at night over there in Oz. But it's been insane. Thank you so much for coming on.
I cannot thank you enough. I have a lot of time for gorgeous, humans that are speaking my language, let's call it, and getting out there to their own audience. And so I'm just very grateful, my love, that you've said to me, yes, we can have a play. And, then we get to share some love and some knowledge.
Exactly.
Like my whole thing is let's lift each other up, So thank you for helping me help some people lift up a little bit, So I just love you, woman, and thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Rachel.